Some bad news coming out of the state of California in regards to Assembly Bill 1187. This is a bad one, probably one of the worst I've seen in a while, but the good news is that we can likely stop this one if we make our voices heard. If there's ever been an particularly egregious law that we could potentially stop, it's 1187, which would require mandatory training by both people moving into the state and anyone that at any point wants to take possession of a firearm in the state of California. Now, this bill text is early, so that things can change. So I'm just going to be going over a brief overview because with bills at this stage in the process, oftentimes the text change. So we're not going to go through it in the nitty gritty. We're just going to cover some of the basic facts so that you know who to reach out to, where to find resources, who to say, please don't do this to, and you have enough information to make it work. So today I want to talk about the sponsor, Delete Me. Delete Me is a service that goes online, finds your personal information, and gets rid of it. They save me probably 30 hours every couple of months just going through and removing my information. For those of you that don't know, the California Department of Justice and the California government have doxed me due to my gun-owning activities at least 3 times at this point since 2015, which is kind of a lot, and because of that, I get contacted from people that I don't want contacting me. I get contacted by strangers who don't wish me well. And because of that, I have used Delete Me for nearly 4 years now, and they've saved me so much time, so much effort going online, constantly monitoring the internet, and removing my personal information from these easy to access websites. And even for you who might not be doing what I'm doing, you have probably posted on Facebook before. You've probably posted on X or Twitter. Now, people will use your opinions that you post online to potentially target you in the real world. And that's not good. And it's what I think Delete Me truly has to offer, making you harder to find, harder to locate, so that you and your family are safe from threats online and in person. And that's why I've paid for this service for so many years. If you use the link in the description, it'll save you a little bit of money and it'll support me so that I can keep doing what I'm doing. And I am so thankful for Delete Me support. Thank you. So this bill is being written by Assembly member that's brand new to this, Celeste Rodriguez, and it would require the implementation of classes and course material of 8 hours of mandatory training in order for someone to purchase a firearm, get gifted a firearm, and bring a firearm in from out of state. So let's say you're moving to the state of California, it would start a clock the second that you bring that firearm in, and you would then have 60 days potentially, and this can all change, 60 days to get that 8 hours of mandatory training, likely on your own dime. Hopefully there's a class. There is likely not going to be any availability of classes due to the amount of training that would have to happen and the lack of instructors, but you would have a timeline to get that done. In addition to just anyone in the state of California that ever wants to take possession of a firearm, 8 hours of training on your own dime, most likely. Hopefully you have enough time to get the time off. Hopefully you have enough money to be able to afford that additional cost. Hopefully you have no sort of pressing threats that are likely not going to wait for you to find a month that you can take a class so that then you could be able to protect yourself. And the reason that I'm really against these type of bills is, me personally, it wouldn't affect me too greatly. I'm financially well enough off. I have a lot of firearms already. Not really going to be a huge deal for me. I'm also mostly exempt from these kind of things because of some permits and whatnot that I have. But the reason that I particularly hate laws like this that put huge barriers of entry to firearms ownership is, one, because my entire channel is trying to get people to be able to make that first step. So it kind of undoes a lot of work that I've tried to do. But I've also worked in a gun store for many years back in the day, and I know what it's like having to tell someone, hey, I know that your baby daddy is threatening you violently and you don't currently own a gun and you want to be able to carry outside of the home. I know what it's like telling them that not only do they have to wait 10 days to even get their gun, but that they would also be put in a position where they couldn't even legally carry that firearm outside of the home. So I know what it feels like to see the look on someone's face and see that the laws in this state have completely stripped away their ability to reasonably protect themselves. And so I know that these laws are going to create victims or create criminals because people have to choose to not be a victim. And in order to do that, they potentially have to choose to break the law. Now, my estimate that I can throw out there for an 8-hour class that's going to have to go over a lot of mandatory material provided by the state in addition to live fire is probably going to be anywhere from $200 to $500. I think that would be completely expected to pay somewhere in that range, depending on where you are, depending on the amount of people in the class, and depending on the level of rigor that goes into the required training that the DOJ mandates. Now, all of this is going to have to go into effect sometime in mid 2027, assuming things don't change. So that's a very short period of time. So let's think about this logistically. All of a sudden, of the 40 million people in this state, I think somewhere like 20 to 30% of those people are in a home with firearms or own a firearm themselves. That's a lot of people. I don't know if you know that, but I mean, we could say there's probably 12 million people in this state that have access to a firearm and would need this training every 5 years. That's a lot. How are we going to create the infrastructure for the shooting training to even be able to occur anywhere? How are we going to make sure that the trainers get certified in a timely manner by mid 2027 so that there's even enough trainers? How are we going to ensure that people can even afford these things? Well, we can't. It's simply not possible. And now you might be asking, why isn't it possible? Well, because the money has to come from somewhere, and the space is limited. There's only so much space in this planet, and there's only so much space in California, and there's only so much time. Currently, I don't know any ranges in Sonoma County that have the infrastructure to handle live fire shooting that would likely be required to have 100 people trained a week. That's my county alone. Especially when you start thinking about dense population centers, there is simply not enough space, and the huge influx of these people trying to get firearm certificates is going to cause the demand for them to go way up, and the ranges that already exist are going to be inundated with people just trying to do the bare minimum, so that anyone that actually wants to learn and become even more proficient is going to be unable to do so. The second and third order effects of this are going to be massive. So what I need you to do, I need you to reach out to the CRPA. The CRPA does an excellent job and that's the California Rifle and Pistol Association for those that don't know. I need you to reach out to the CRPA and tell them, hey, this is a big one for you. I need you to figure out who your state assembly member is, and I need you to tell them, do not vote yes on this. You need to vote no on this. That needs to happen, first of all. So we need to cancel this. We need to get this bill shut down. The CRPA does an excellent job year over year of shutting down bills before they get too far. I think that this is one of the ones that is definitely going to get stopped, but if it doesn't, it's going to destroy your ability to shoot anywhere. You will not be able to go to a range and actually find time to shoot as a casual shooter. It's going to completely jack everything up for anyone that wants to shoot their firearm at a range. It's going to cause people to be unable to legally get guns because they're not going to be able to get the training because the training won't exist. There simply will not be enough trainers. There will not be enough training facilities. There will not be enough time to train 12 million people estimated every 5 years. it won't work. It just simply won't work. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, drop a comment down below. Again, thank you to Delete Me for supporting me and supporting this channel. They're a huge supporter of me for a long time. I've used their service for a long time, like I've said, and I truly do believe in it, and I'm happy to have them back on board. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.